Hello, hello. Think I think I'm on. Peace YouTube. This is Flipper. I'm coming to you today with a new topic of discussion. Check on in. It's not going to be a really long live, I think. So, bear with me. Okay. Hey, Melissa. Hola. Buenas. Bonjour, bonjour. Bom dia. Bom dia, bom dia. Tudo bem? Tudo bom? Ça va? Ça va très bien. Is it jumbo? Jumbo? I think in Swahili, it's kind of, remind me, is it jumbo? Jumbo, right? Bonjour, bonjour. Ça va très bien. Oh, it's afternoon for you. Oh, boa tarde. I think it's in Brazil. It's afternoon. What is it? Konnichiwa? Is it konnichiwa? I think it's konnichiwa, right? Aloha. Saludo. What's the other? Uh, Goodness, I'd like to know at least a couple more languages, right? What up? Ça passe? Jumbo. I was right? Jumbo. Jumbo Habara Habara Habar Agani. Haba Agani. Oh, that's so beautiful. Haba Agani. Hey, Christopher from Chicago. Is it warm in Chicago? Or is it cold? Sawubona. Sabubona. Sawubona or Sabubana. I love it. The African tongue is very beautiful. Like the different dialects in Africa, it sounds because you know my first language is French. It's such a nice sound to it. You know what I mean? Sababona, sababana. Check on him. You remember I'm always in my truck, y'all. Remember when I used to do lives in my truck, y'all? I'm in my classic truck. Remember? Used to see the car seats in the back. My children are bigger now. I only have one car seat, right? Chemtrails. Yeah, what else is new? Supreme Rising, Michelle. Yeah. What is it? Ejama Sante Habar Igani. Habar Igani. Enjama Sante Habar Igani. Did I say that right? I try to get the languages right. You know, it's easy because I speak other languages. Sometimes it's when I get another dialect, sometimes. You can always correct me. I'm okay with you correcting me. Ni hao. That's in Chinese. Ni hao. Grand Rising. So check on in. We'll wait. You know I'm gonna go in on the Bioborg, the cyborg himself. I'm a little disturbed, but I kind of, hey Star Rose. I kind of hey superhero nega. Can't stop, won't stop. That's right. Hey from Australia. Thank you. It's not that cold where I am. It's not that cold. I'm in my truck. You know, remember when I used to do a lot of my videos in my trucks? On my truck. I'm doing a little I'm doing a little like impromptu, very flashback, kind of like a retro video, right? My camera's a little funky, right? Let me see if I can clean my camera. I'm trying not to show my goodies because I don't know why women get offended when you have big boobies. Why? Like, is big boobies an issue? Like, I don't know. I thought having breasts were a great thing, a natural breast. But my God, you should hear the Christian women come for me, y'all. You would think I'm a harlot. You would think I'm like a dirty harlot. Yeah, man. I mean, I don't try to show my boobies, but my God, you know, today I'm a little free-spirited, but God, Christians be coming for me. I don't know if it's jealousy though. I don't think it's jealousy. It's almost like they see me as something that they were always taught is wrong. And I'm just, and I don't think they come to me. Some people don't know me for a long time, but you know, I'm Creole. Oh, no. Oh, look how clear the camera is, y'all. My camera was funky. Is that better? Yeah. Look at the camera, y'all. My camera was funky. Funky Cole Medina. Woo! That's so much better, right? Clear color. See what happens when you're touching a camera? My little ones touch my camera sometimes, and I forget that it's funky. Better view? Better view? Better view? Okay. Yeah. A lot of times let me sit straight up. A lot of times the women get really mad at me. And I try not to get them too ramped up because I do want them to hear the message. And sometimes they just don't hear it because they just see the boobies. So I'm trying to get better, okay? But I'm being very unnatural when I'm covering up. Being very unnatural, okay? Okay, so check on in. Let me open up my window. My neighbor's outside doing the lawn. So I'm gonna be a little hot in here for a minute. And you know I don't do AC, okay? So check on in. No, I understand that, but sometimes, you know, I have all these newer people coming to the channel. I don't know where they're coming from. And the boobies bother them. You're proud of your double Ds? Listen, I am too. I love, you know, I could be a little smaller, I'm sure. But I love my bosoms. I'm grateful for them. I mean, they fed my babies. I was so happy. I didn't, you know, I got a lot of, let me stop being disgraceful. Because, you know, I was going to say something, but I'm going to not be Creole today. I'm going to be a little, I'm be appropriate. Yeah, man. They're not true Christians. Charlie said those are not true Christians. Are they Satanists? They might be just like fake Christians. You said your double Ds won't be silenced. Big up to the big old, the big boobies, the tatas, the ones with the big tetas. Big up to y'all. You really support me. I appreciate it. You said take my shirt off. That would be obscene. Oh, he's doing work today. God darn it. This is classic. This is classic. I'm doing a live. This is like back in the days in Orlando, remember? I start doing a live and it'll get loud. That's why I have the windows closed. Okay. Check on in. When we get to 500, I'll start. You said knocker blockers? That's what they used to call them? No shame over your triple Ds. Misty's got big boobies. I'm sorry, y'all. I know this is a conversation, but my God. It's crazy. No, I just, you know, I always tell everybody that I'm not trying here to be shade. Like, people get mad at me at just being human. It's crazy. Like, if you're human, people really get mad at you. Like, if you do things that are humanly, people will really, like, they'll vilify you. And then you say to yourself, my God, why would you even come to somebody who's more organic? Like, I'm a human being. I'm a mom. I have a mother I take care of. Like, I get tired sometimes. Like, I'm just a human being. And sometimes I come on here impromptu. I got eyeliner on. Sometimes I don't like to wear any makeup. Most of the time, actually. Okay. So, check on in. We're almost at 500. I'm gonna go in on Elon Musk and Viviek. And I told you, y'all, I told you what's gonna happen. And the League of Doom is beginning, that they're being contracted. Oh, thank you, Charlie. I'm not perfect, y'all. Please don't expect someone to come on. What I think most people don't realize, I've been on YouTube for over 12 years. How long have I been? I've been on since 2011. And I will tell you, like, I'm just a normal person. I know I talk about extraordinary things, but I'm quite normal. And when people put me on this pedestal to make me feel like I should be like a superhero, I'm just really not. I'm just a mom from Mount Vernon, y'all, who has supernatural experiences. That's it. My neighbor's crushing on me, y'all. So he's over here. Yeah. He's really sweet, though. He's cleaning his yard, trying to disturb me so I'll come out. Trying to get me to come out. Okay, so we're almost at 500. So I've been on for a long time. So if you have a problem with women who look like me, organic, who really don't edit videos, I just come to you and promise you I'm not reading. And let me say this, I don't appreciate, because I have to definitely get on people. I don't appreciate some of the other YouTubers that come and watch my videos and then piggyback and get a whole epilogue of a video based on my videos. Don't be disrespectful. Like, if you like my videos, say my name. But don't go and make a whole video, copying and pasting everything I say, expanding upon it. It's so disrespectful. A lot of males on YouTube do that. They go to another person's a female's video, and they'll do that. They'll just basically be disrespectful. They'll come in and watch my whole video, and they'll have a whole video based on everything they watched on mine and kick alias. I mean, it's just like Sophia Stewart. Because someone said, oh, flattery is, that's just flattery, imitation is flattery. No, it's not when they go and copy and paste your videos and create it like if it's them. I don't mind. I share the information. You can share it, but say my name. Don't make a whole video with everything I talked about and act like you don't know me. It's a lot of males who do that. You know what I'm saying? I think it's disrespectful and it's dishonoring because you'll say everybody's name, but you won't say the females' names because you want to make it seem like you're the one who's inspired by yourself. Say my name, motherfreaker. Okay? Stop making videos based on mine. If you watch it and you like it, then say my name. Okay? It's required. Or I'm going to put all kinds of curses on you. Actually, I won't. I don't do that. But a lot of people who watch me will. Stop it already. Okay? Yeah, this is a YouTuber that did that the other day when I talked about the Jesuits and the One World Order, made a whole video. So disrespectful. Anyway, we're at 500, y'all. Let's get on in. So big up to everyone. Peace to the east, the west, and the south. Can you put the timestamp on this so people know when it begins? Big up to everyone. Peace to the east, the west, and north, and south. This is Flipper coming today with another topic of discussion. So check on in. Okay, so we're going to talk about what's happened with, now I say congratulations for those, real boobs matter. I want to say congratulations to those who supported Trump and he won. Now, let me say the fat lady hasn't said yet, oh, okay, so that hasn't happened yet. Be careful celebrating too soon. I talk about there's a lot of craziness going on, but we're definitely going to get into some of the things with the super cyborg, which is Elon Musk, and Viviek, the Dark Lord of mass destruction. Okay, so let's talk about what's going on right now. Right now, Trump he's basically telling everybody what he's going to do before he gets into power. Now, why I think that's a little crazy is because you should never, ever show your cards before you actually get sworn in and you actually are certified. Because as you know, everyone is starting to, a lot of parties are starting to have meetings based on him. And how they're going to try to stop him from getting certified. Okay, you got a whole lot of things happening on the other side. To me personally, it actually means that he may not make it to inauguration, y'all. Now, I like some of the things that he's administrating. I won't front, because for me, the trans movement was out of control. And I don't care if you're a trans dog, cat, cow, human, girl, boy, it doesn't matter to me, but certainly you shouldn't be projecting and projecting that and propagating that to children. Like, I'm okay with, like, I grew up in New York, y'all. Big up to my New York people, my brethren, from my sisters from New York. Big up to y'all from the boroughs. Okay, but certainly, one thing I say is if you want to propagate your sexual activity, your sexual preferences, your physicality that you want to change, that's fine. I think I actually accept if you want to be a cat, dog, if you want to be a wolf, by all means, do what you do. But certainly that shouldn't be something generated to children because it's not natural. It's artificial intelligence influencing you. Probably all those shots of mass destruction that you got as a child most likely had some effect on you. And actually, you should think about suing your federal government. Because I tell mothers all the time, if your child is having confusion, you really should think into looking up a action suit to go against your federal government for incentivizing, propaganding, and also chemicalizing and bioweaponing certain that was given to your children upon birth and afterwards. Just my personal opinion. And everything that you're eating, you know, everything that you're eating is literally affecting the genetic coding and also the hormones inside. Now, I say as women, we're affected just as much as men. It's just unfortunately, when you dose them with a high amount of estrogen, then you're going to get men that like to wear nail polish, walk around with purses, like to have, anal copulation with other males. That's what you start getting with them. Okay, it's a little different than women. Women, we generally gets maybe a little aggressive, a little, too much estrogen. We can get a little aggressive, a little domineering, a little competitive. That comes along with that. But let's talk about what's going on with the League of Doom that's just been, that is going to be instituted with a new department called the Dodge. Apparently, it's something controlling the finances, the financial spending of the country. And unfortunately, as I told you before in the last video, the cyborg himself of doom, the cyborg of mass destruction, has now been appointed a job that he hasn't qualified for, nor has he been voted by the people for. Okay, I've talked about the fact that during Trump's speech, his acceptance speech, that he basically gave almost, can someone time it? Like, God darn it. It was just too much time dedicated to Elon Musk. And we know Elon Musk is pushing the whole humanism. And I always talked about the fact years ago, because to everyone who's been with me for a while, the whole transhumanism, agenda is literally going to be the after effect of transgenderism. Transgenderism is like a preface to transhumanism, making people stop being like the whole thing, like I'm asexual. I'm what is it? It's not transgender, and I'm a like there's sayings that the young people say, like they're not human, like they're like aerobic. What's the saying they say, y'all? I forgot the name that they call themselves. There's another term that they use, like I'm what is it? You guys know it. It's like a term that the young people use. But anyway, just to say, like, this is non-binary. Thank you. Non-binary. Thank you. It's non-binary. This term that was, basically geoengineered as part of the agenda-based programming psyop that the government has propagated on especially the youth, because the youth is most afflicted and affected by trends. Okay, musical trends, and by having a whole bunch of transsexuals inside of music industry and homosexuality kind of being pushed, you kind of influence the young people to be less gender based. They're more neutral. Like, even if you talk to young people, back in the days, if you talk to a young man that was perceivably heterosexual, he would have an issue with a guy who calls himself transgender or a guy who's perceivably gay. He wouldn't want to be friends with him. He would feel uncomfortable being around them. I mean, that's generally the consensus of men back in the days. But now, if you talk to young men, they're going like, oh, he wants to live his life. They'll be friends with people who are trans, or they'll be understanding, which I don't know is bad. I don't want to say it's bad, but it just means that there's more acceptability of that type of disposition. So the fact of the matter is, we have a cyborg of mass destruction that has now been instituted into your governmental decisions. And we know that he's a billionaire. And also remember that his nanny had said that he was seen opening a portal and he was playing with demons. Now, I don't know if they're demons, they're probably interdimensionals that he had access to. And I also told you that it isn't natural when you look at Elon Musk, and he has zero emotions. And he speaks in 6-second intervals. Look at his eye movement. He looks like Data from Star Trek. He looks like the Borg that was in Aliens, the cyborg. We have to remember that everything that's being propagandaed is purposefully being instituted to um, kind of groom us into accepting things that normally in an organic world we wouldn't ever accept. We would actually reject it and we would rebel. Okay, so remember, all television, all propaganda is forms of social engineering and forms of instituting MK Ultra programming. Okay. The fact of the matter is that when you start seeing, because even with the guy who was heading Facebook, he looked like Data. They've got that pasty, lunars don't have that color naturally, unless you're from like England, don't get a lot of sun. But generally, that pasty kind of robotic kind of skin colors, like gray, white kind of color, that's an artificial intelligence being placating itself as if it's humanoid. Okay. He looks like Data, and he speaks like a cyborg, and even his emotions are really, really artificial. It doesn't even seem natural or organic. And this is a person that you're going to institute in a governmental position to have delegate certain things upon the people, and he has not been voted for by us. This person has not been chosen by us. He's taken over Twitter, and people are like, oh, that's so noble, he took over Twitter. Why is that noble? And then he named it X. Everything that he associated with is X. Why would he name it X? He is part of the League of Doom, y'all. He is part of the League of Doom. He could, in fact, be an artificial AI antichrist, because I think that he is the one that will institute all of these types of technology that literally will take over the entire spectrum of everything that we interface with. iRobot, you got Teslas all over the place, where basically weapons of mass destruction, they're bombs. You know what I mean? That lithium battery that is huge in people. People are sitting in Teslas, allegedly, and sitting there. Do you know how much radiation you're being exposed to? And we didn't even talk about the fact that they tested the amount of radiation. They were testing the amount of radiation when people were charging their cars with the Teslas, the Tesla charge, the electrical charge, the electrical chargers. And do you know how much radiation was being emitted in that port? It was so much. What do you think is going to happen to people hyperexposed to that, along with the bioweapons that they've chosen to participate with? Okay? This is the part that I don't know that you realize. Whenever you have billionaires and millionaires that are holding positions of power, you must know, in this realm, at this time, in this firmament, in order to be on a certain level fiscally, you would have to be part of the blood lineage of the diabolicals, or you would have to participate in crimes of mass destruction, and also participate in the multitude of ritualistic crimes, or ritualistic types of practices that would allow you to sit in those positions comfortably. And that's why I say, even though there are certain things, like I said, I really appreciate, the fact of the matter is, I really appreciate when Trump did win, because of the things that literally are anti-moral, anti-ethical, anti-human that were being propagated. But remember, this literally is the same coin. It's the opposite coin. So it's easier. The poison is easier. Remember, cyanide is sweet. That's why most people can get cyanide poisoning and not even know it, because it has a sweet taste to it. This is a different kind of poisoning. And now he's instituted the demon of mass destruction, a cyborg, which is not even humanoid, that is instituting all of these anti-human types of projects, and is the head of all of these AI systems, and Starlink. Do you not realize that that could be an issue? The very things that we've been, for all these years, kind of coming against, saying we weren't wanting to participate with. We literally didn't have any say over the 5G towers, all the 5G fiber optics that was being installed all over our neighborhoods, on the highways, like even driving on the highway. Do you know they lifted up a lot of the highways when they had us in the house in 2020, and they were putting these fiber optics underneath the ground so that when you drive on those highways, all that energy, where do you think that's going? That's going inside of your sexual organs. This is crazy, y'all. The fact that he's instituting a legal deal, and I don't even want to go into Viviek. Viviek, I told you, is like um some sort of diabolical like like he remember I told you India had taken over. India and China had taken over. And because India has such technology, and you can ask a lot of our Indian family how much technology, you have way more technology and it's never spoken to you. As an American, you're ignorant to it because you don't travel, you don't really speak to people, you don't know technologically that a lot of India is heading most of your AI programming. Like literally, I think India is way far ahead of even China. China's like on the back lay of it, and India's on the forefront. They have time travel technology, and really that portal that we went through, we could maybe say that the Indian government could have been responsible for how we felt during the election, when we felt really tired, when we felt drained, almost like we had gone and been lifted out of one dimension into another. You can thank maybe India for that. And India's been put in the forefront. A lot of times you have to think, when we have a small group of people that are being heavily propagated in social media and in politics, you got to ask why. And I explained to you months ago that India is literally a handler of the United States. And in order for them to have their contract be satisfied, they have to have people in political power. That's why you're seeing all of these Indian, candidates being introduced, even though the population doesn't seemingly seem like we have a lot of Indians, but literally itself, they had to, big up to Daryl, who's part of our Zumbi group, had mentioned this, the fact that probably there was an agreement made, allegedly, an agreement made between the United States, the previous United States, saying that in order to transfer the power into the new handlers of the new country that we don't even know that we're in, that they would slowly kind of put people in power that were from this new group that now owns part of the United States. You don't think that during the whole speech, when Donald Trump was making his speech, and that his whole family was there, but one of the guys who was the vice president is married to an Indian woman? You don't think it's by chance that Kamala never said that she was a so-called African American? She always pushed that she was Indian, and that when she came as vice president, the first thing that they did was delegate rights to Southeast Asians, Asian people, and really emphasizing Indians as being a new kind of energy that was being promoted. Now, mind you, we have a lot of Indian people in our country. Do not take this as me saying anything wrong against Indians, because generally, just like Americans, the general citizens of countries don't have anything to do with governmental, agendas. So when you have an average Indian family, they don't have anything to do with the agendas. They can be used, and placed in strategic positions, but it doesn't mean that they're personally involved. So just be mindful when I share things about certain ethnicities, including my own, that it's just a matter of me stating something that you may not see, but you're seeing it, but you don't know what it is. Okay? When your whole system is being taken over by another group of people and you have no clue about it because you're not paying attention, because it's been slowly fed to you and over years, so that you're getting used to that demographics of people showing up in political arenas, or as medical physicians, or in the technology field, you kind of being slowly fed something so that it stays into your mindset, so you don't think it's odd. If you just bring a whole bunch of people and start throwing them in the lexicon of politics, or in the industrial, tech field, then it's going to cause you to have alarms. But if you slowly feed them into your mindset, and you kind of just feed it to you without really saying it, then you'll just accept it. This Viviek is like a demon. He looks like a demon. Do you see his head? Listen, do you see the way Now, I don't think he's a Bioborg. I think he's a trickster. You ever talk of him? He talks like a bad salesman, like a salesman who's trying to sell you things. Like he always says things right. Like he's like almost like in his mind, he's practiced the way to manipulate people. I told you before, I did not like Viviek. He sat in the back lane. I didn't know what was his position. He didn't know if he was running or coming or going. He sat there and he was always being interviewed on all these so-called whistleblowers channels. All the Republican parties were kind of pushing him. That's how you know that this is a party. This is um, the Indian handlers who are actually, they're not handlers, they're the owners of the United States. They're being pushed in the forefront. He sat there comfortably while Trump was running and never really said anything as if he was against or for Trump. Okay? So really in itself, I have to say to you, y'all, we have a cyborg and we now have a dark knight of mass destruction. The League of Doom is being all kinds of giving positions of power. And, I know that you guys like Candace Owens. I told you she's a self-loathing coon. I'm saying it again. She's a self-loathing coon. And why do I say this? Is because she says everything right. She has a moral compass that's amazing. She really basically dissected Kamala's whole brown background, which was considerably wonderful. Cheers for her. But you have to remember, this is a woman who does not support any rights for melanated people. She didn't choose a man of color to marry, which is fine, which is a personal choice. She does not have women of color that she associates with other than maybe her sister. She has some issue with her mother, which we don't even want to talk about because she never mentions her as if she doesn't exist. She only capes for Caribbeans, even though she's not even Caribbean. She's like third Caribbean away, only on one side of her family. She has this constant feeling of associating with brown men that don't like brown women. This woman is also caping for the coonery that she progenerated and kind of talked about within the dynamics of Kamala running. So the very thing that she talked about is the very thing that she suffers from. She doesn't like brown women. And you can see it in everything. She capes for only brown men. And when I say this, y'all, I say this with the utmost disrespect. She is an insert. She is by default an agent of mass destruction. She is here to progenerate the self-loathing of saying brown women, you can only be better if you marry outside of your ethnicity, of outside of who you are. You can only be accepted if you degrade and you deflect and you reject anything that has to do with protection of brown women. She's never spoke about brown women being kidnapped, about most brown women in the country. There are a lot of, a lot of crimes against women, number one, all women. But she's never once spoke about the fact that there's a disproportionate amount of brown women and brown children that are constantly kidnapped. She's never spoke about that on platform, but she sat for a good 6 months talking about how Kamala's father is not black. But she never speaks about the things that really matter about the indiscrepancies and the obvious targeting of melanated women. Okay? So I'm just saying, like, love her if you want for what she did. She basically was a henchwoman for Trump's campaign against Kamala. It's all good. But still stay vigilant in questioning her position as a brown woman who never has anything brown about her, who's always progenerating everything that's anti-brown woman. Okay? I'm just saying, I wouldn't trust any person who is progenerating themselves, propagating themselves out there as someone who's a brown woman, and nothing about her smells, looks, or even feels like someone who loves and supports brown women. And not to say we're a monolith, but this is a problem when you have someone like her, and she's also caping for Elon Musk. Okay? So, yeah, she's been talking about brown people, for years. And I think people forget that because, remember, you see one good thing that someone does, and you forget the 50 terrible things she's done. You know what I mean? So she's also probably going to have a position in the cabinet of Trump. And this is another person that's dangerous because she is anti-brown woman. Everything in the cabinet supports when I say brown women, y'all, I'm not talking about Indian women. I'm not talking about half brown women. I'm talking about the melanated women in this country who have held themselves at a high esteem, who have been literally degraded, um, degraded, um, marginalized and stepped on for everyone to step up. Like everything that, even the language that trans or other people use, they basically piggyback off of the wonderful uniqueness of brown culture, American culture, which generates a lot of the trends and a lot of the fads, and a lot of the lexicon, the things we speak, like you used to call it ebonics, but literally it's a beautiful way of creating words and verbiage that are a new language that's kind of instituted, as the community grows and expands. Okay. So I don't want to leave too much time on her. Am I speaking bad about a brown woman? um, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I am. I'm speaking against someone who's anti-women, especially brown women. That's who I'm speaking against. I'm speaking against someone who doesn't support and create programs that help to protect a very marginalized and targeted group. I'm speaking against a woman who sits and props herself up, but everything that she does, everything that she represents is anti-brownness. Yes, I am. Okay. So I'm just saying, if keeping it real, yes, I'm speaking against a brown woman because everything she is anti-brown woman. And again, when we have a multitude of women being marginalized and targeted, and all you do is see on television, all of these, the only women, like, okay, let me say this, y'all, because you may think, oh, Floydburn, you're going too far with this. Why is it that in the art and music industry, why is it that all you see in the music industry is brown women that are presented to be whores and loose and low vibrational? You don't think we have positive women who sing that are not religious? That are not religious. So what I say is this: like, if you get into the the gospel field, is something different. I don't want to use that because then you say, well, that's artistry too, but that's religion. That's why when you go to school and you get your child an exemption, the one exemption that they'll give you for not getting vaccines is if you have religious exemption. There's a reason for that. There's a reason why, in order for you to get an exemption, they'll exempt you from taking any bioweaponry if you have a religious exemption. So it means that you as a religious person are already suffering from Stockholm syndrome. So you're already you're inoculated mentally and cognitively. So they accept that. Okay. But when I talk about women of color that are put on the stage and propagated and propped up there, you have people like Cardi B, which is the epitome of low vibrational, limited cognitively, and are propped up there as if someone you want your children to emulate. You have someone like Dirty Red, Sexy Red, who's the epitome of saying, what did she say? Her butthole was brown or something. What was the thing she said? Your butthole was brown? What was in her lyrics? Some craziness. I can't even say her lyrics because they're so depraved. She's the epitome of everything that is low vibrational, that is propped up as if it's brown women. Then you have Mr. Stallion. What's her name? Meg the Stallion, which we question she is even a female, and she's progenerating things that are loathing to women, things that are not encouraging higher minded. What happened to the sister soldiers of our environment? What happened to the Queen Latifahs? What happened to the women in hip hop and music that were generating high vibrational, good self-esteem, self-mastery? Like, what happened to those women? Why are they only, like, in Kamala's whole her campaign, she propped up the lowest vibrational women that aren't good representation of women of color. Now, for those of you who are not women of color and you think brown women act like this, because I can tell that many of you do, because how you approach us sometimes in public is if we all come from depraved households, like we all come from drug-based whores, thoughts, and that we have lower limited views of ourselves. And that is absolutely the opposite. Most women of color, and I'm talking about brown women in America, have really high self-esteem, and they have very very conservative values. And the fact of the matter is that everything that you see on television is basically propping women of color as if we're some sort of monolith of low vibrational sexual deviancy and of low breeding, which is absolutely the opposite. So, why I bring this up is because remember, we have a new administration that literally is being putting people in positions of power that have and uphold these concepts of perceptions about many of us. And it's not just women of color, it's every woman. Because women in itself, and we're talking about lunar women, Asian women, Latino women, it's a conglomerate of us that they literally have these marginalized feelings. But when you have a huge position and you start placing strategic leagues of doom around you that are upholding these concepts and really progenerating things that are going to hold so-called conservative values, but then in itself it still has people who that marginalized, we have a problem. We have a problem. And if Candace Owens is going to be placed in there, I would reject it. I would reject it and I will protest that. I will protest it because I wouldn't want someone like that as a role model to my daughters, thinking that their brown skin is lesser when everyone wants to sit and have a tan. When they're marrying a brown man would be a lesser would put them in a lesser position because what did she say? She married a man who's intelligent, as if our brown men are not intelligent. Who did we learn from? A lot of our master teachers are the most amazing, incredible, intelligent masters of everything that they've learned and done and expanded to us. Why would she progenerate that? Do you want someone like that as put in a top tier, as someone who loathes herself, who's encouraging for you to be with another type of man because our brown men are not enough? But she doesn't bring up the fact that most of our brown men have been attacked from womb, chemically attacked by their mothers in womb with doses of estrogen, all kinds of shots of mass destruction, and a host of bioweaponry as soon as they're born, and cutting off their beautiful penis, their foreskins and their penis, that is encouraged by a religious group that we don't even participate with. Why would we want to be associated with that? Okay? So all I'm saying is like if and drugs and propaganda. So I know we talk about brown men, but we have to understand as women of color, we have been the one group that has been targeted, and our sons have been targeted with our wombs. So I'm just saying that if that woman is instituted and given a position of power, I will reject it, I will rebuke it, and I will definitely protest against her. Okay? Because I feel like she's more dangerous to the women of color than any of the men that are not of color. They usually send people that look like you, that are anti you, that are the biggest propagandas to create everything that is not us, so that people take that in. Okay? So, you said you like white. You said you like, if you like white women, that's fine. But remember, that's also a cape too, because remember, the nature of people is to progenerate with people that are like themselves, like their mothers, like their grandmothers. Whenever you have a group of people that does not like to participate, because remember, brown people of color in the United States and in Europe are the only people of all the other nationalities that jump over to other nationalities, and that is by design. Okay. The fact that all of your A athletes, when they get a scholarship to go to school because they're great athletes, they're sent into lunar schools so that they'll only mate with lunar women. You don't think that's by chance, y'all? That all your A athletes go to those universities where they're only surrounded by lunar women so that they would only the highest quality males that are sports, that are like your gladiators, that your physical, the physical ones that have the highest physical stamina and strength and fortitude, they're sent in the universities where it's only lunars. You don't think that's by design? Okay. And then the other males that are anti-establishment that would protect our communities, they're all arrested and put in jail. And then they're given the red juice to subjugate them to doses of fluoride, estrogen, and encouraged to have sex with other men. You don't think that's by design? So by the very nature, I talk about as women, how they will kidnap and take women of color and their children. They'll literally they'll disseminate all kinds of um attacks against the males, so that the males that are left in the community, all the strong warrior type males, are arrested and basically decapitated sexually, and mentally. And then the other ones that are strong gladiator types that they want to be into their arenas, they'll send them into lunar places to know that these men who have the most healthy sexual appetites only mate with women that don't look like their mothers. Okay? And then everybody else that's left around, they'll just give them nice doses of estrogen in the water bottles, the plastic water bottles, in the marijuana that they smoke, in the propaganda that they watch, and they'll just make them all gay. Okay? So I'm just saying, y'all, I know this is very hurtful, and I know that you don't like to hear this. And I'm not a byproduct that has not been affected, but one thing I say is I love brown men. Yay to you. I love our brown men. I've been dedicated to them, even if they aren't dedicated to us. I support their healthiness. I support their up leveling. I support their ascension. So, by any means, and I made sure I had children with men from my same background. I love making children of color. I have children of color. I haven't ever had children of any other nationality. No shade to you, but I have love for myself because I wanted my children to look like me. I wanted my children to look like my husband. And that means, and that shows you that when you're limited in how many shots you've gotten, when you have not been participating in the self-loathing programming, you will pick things that are like you rather than aren't. And that is why we have a problem with a new regime taking over, pretending like it's healthier, and you're just getting a different dose of poison. Kamala was a totally different bunch of poison. Okay. Now we've got Elon Musk, the cyborg of mass destruction. We got Viviek, which is a whole nother. And remember, within the Indian culture itself and my Indian family, you let me know. Because some of you that are my complexion and darker know that you're marginalized and treated like garbage. And they have a whole rape issue going on in India where a lot of women will get gang raped. Now, if you want to prove this, go look at some of the videos talking about visitors and tourists that go over to India and they darn near gets gang raped. A woman in the hospital was sitting there in Bangladesh. I think it was Bangladesh. She was in the hospital recovering from some sort of surgery. The head nurse got a whole bunch of men and they raped her and she died. They've got a rape issue going on in India. And if you want to progenerate this culture that comes into the country, then we're going to start to see things like that kind of behavior being progenerated out in our society. Okay. Is it all Indians? No, but talk to our Indian family. Remember, I have Indian girlfriends. You want to hear about the marginalization of darker skin, how darker skin is like the death of the Indian, that they encourage bleaching their skin, and also they feel lesser because people make them feel like their dark skin is a stain to the family, and the encouragement of sexual deviancy and rape in the culture. I'm just saying this is a type of culture that's being, we talk about the chinois coming in here, but you also got to talk about the depravities that come along in other countries where they bring that kind of societal behavior into the country that now they've taken over. So be careful when you start to say, oh, well, Fleurbone, don't talk about other nationalities, because listen, we all have our stains in our cultures and our societies. We all have them. And remember, brown women, we're talked about like dirty dogs all the time, so you could get it too. Okay. Brown American women are always talked about and depreciated and spoken about low, even if that is not the consensus of the majority of women. But as soon as you touch on the overall societal cultural behavior that's low vibrational, then you're called a racist. You're called a person that hates someone else. Absolutely not. Okay. There's tons of Indians in every culture and society. They migrated here. Many of them were migrants in the Caribbean, as you know, because they're called coolies in the Caribbean. Many of our Caribbean people know this from St. Lucia, from Jamaica, from Trinidad and Tobago. They're called coolies. And in Guyana, which, in Guyana, there's a huge Indian society. And even in that society, there is a takeover in Guyana where most of the political system is taken over by mostly Indians. And the brown people that are native to Guyana are subjugated to marginalization, demonization, and pushed to the side. Okay, even the women in that society that are Indian are now being preferenced and pushed as the beauty marker, was brown women with beautiful brown coily hair and darker skin are considered to be less attractive. Okay, So the fact of the matter is, we have to talk about the fact that we have a problem. We have a new administration that is already propagating things and people and beings that are going to cause some issue in our society. Okay. And with this new, we thought Kamala was bad. Once I saw that Viviek and the king of Satan himself, Elon Musk, the cyborg of mass destruction, are being placed in a position of power, even though these are not beings that we would have even voted for, this is an issue. Okay. We have a problem. We've got everyone caping for Elon. We've got all of these different people saying his name as if he's and also big up to the zombies where we were actually in this incantation book, and we found out that there was a name Elon that is part of an incantation that when you say the name, it causes favor. So the name in itself could be cape, meaning that it could be a artificial name to cause you to feel enamored. It's a spell. You can look this up, y'all. It's called Elon. It's called, if you say the name Elon, that if you say it in times of crisis or people hate you, the name Elon in itself literally will subconsciously cause enamorment. It was in a incantation book, y'all. And I won't say that now because I won't. Yeah. Marcus said Elon and Enlil. Interesting. Elon and Noel. Oh, Noel. Thank you, Mapina. Interesting. So, I kind of went on a rant. I'm sorry, everyone. I was just really disgusted. That in one breath, I say we should relax, but on another side, I say we might have to be more cautious. I wish I didn't feel that way. But when I saw that Elon Musk is going to take a position of power in a political arena and have say over the populace, even though he is instituting the the dirtiest forms of frequencies with the Teslas, with the 5G, with the fiber optics, with all of these Teslas all over the place, and we have the Tesla robot that is coming to a neighborhood near you. We have a problem. And we also have to recognize that now that Trump is saying what he's going to do, I don't know why he's doing this. I think in itself, it's kind of like he's poking and he's inciting people to remember. We talked about the whole immigration and that a lot of these immigrants could be super soldiers or actually from NATO countries. They could have been brought here to cause and kick off like a like a coup within the country. And remember, I talked about last time that the one world order can only happen when there's so much chaos in each country and one person could take a position of power that they could literally make everyone bend to the knee in order to save every country from um their internal combustion, and that it could be Trump that does that. So, because remember, the first person to call Trump when he won was Yahoo, BB. And then the next one was Trudeau. And then a lot of other leaders started to concede to the things that he's been saying, like China. And you got to say to yourself, what would make them all bend to the knee unless they knew something that we didn't? Because remember, I'm saying if Trump is a nice guy to most people, they like him, but they have their own self-interest. What would make them go against their self-interest and bend to the knee for him? And I have to remember, Trump is the trumpets. He is the tower of terror. He is the one, he is the and Kiki Mansi actually mentioned this years ago. Big ups to Kiki Mansi. I love me some Kiki. I haven't talked to Kiki in years, but remember when I did an interview with Kiki Mansi? Kiki said this years ago. She said, what if Trump is the Trojan horse? What if he's the Trojan horse? I don't know if many of you know about the Trojan horse when, this other nation was given a gift and it looked like a big, beautiful horse and they thought it was a gift and they opened up their gates and let it in. And then when they let it in, all of these enemy soldiers poured out of the Trojan horse. What if he's that? Remember, everybody can get it. Remember, I'm totally balanced. I won't support left or right. I'm more in the middle. And I know there were certain things about Trump that obviously could be positively seen. But what if the Christ itself, the whole concept, I don't believe in Antichrist, but you know what I mean? The whole concept of the Antichrist literally is presented through him. Because I think Elon Musk is the Antichrist. I really do. I think he's an Antichrist. I think the Antichrist we think is human. I think it would be a cyborg that doesn't have any connection to humans. And let me say this. I don't only care about women of color or children of color. I don't know. I don't just care about them. I care about all women and children and families and people that are good people. Why I mention it is because I happen to be a woman of color, because people get upset. Like, why is she man? I am a woman of color. I'm raising children of color. I am invested in the healthiness and the happiness of myself and my family. When we have many administrations that put the foot on brown women and constantly put these images of the most depraved, dark females constantly, when I know in our community that isn't a representation of brown women. When I have looners who come up to me and think they can curse and talk to me like a low vibrational hooker because they think that that's where we come from, because on television, that's all the propaganda is, that women of color are cursers, we do drugs and alcohol. I'm alcohol free, I'm drug free, I raise my children with ethics and morals and value, and all of my friends that are women of color do the same. The fact that you think that we all act like that, the fact that you think that we're sexual depravities, that you could talk to me any which way, it already lets me know that you suffer and you are a acceptor of social engineering. Because if you knew that whatever is being propaganda is most likely not true, you would already have an understanding that why are they propping brown women? Because if you look at lunar music, look at the lunar women. The majority of lunar women, like Taylor Swift, all the other women, they aren't being propped up as whores like that. Do you see Taylor Smith? Now, Taylor Swift, yeah, she does certain things, a little satanic on her thing, but generally you don't see lunars being progenerated, especially women, as low vibrational whores or talking really bonical, like they haven't any education. They aren't propagating their women like that. Why would you accept that you should accept that for us? So you think it's okay that lunars can only have a clean, squeaky image on social media? Now, I'm not saying like there's dark beings on, but I'm just saying, um, why do you think that that's okay that one group of women is upheld to a higher standard of ethics and values and another woman isn't? When you know for values of brown women have always been known to be the people that people will send their children to because they trust them more. So how could you trust us more with your children, but think that we uphold those low vibrational values? Do you know that most lunars are taught, a lot of, like, I've heard this from friends myself, that they're taught that if in case of emergency, if your child is ever lost, that they're to send them to a brown woman. Go to a brown woman in the street and you know you're safe. They tell Lunars, you could correct me. My Luna girlfriends told me that their parents had told them from young, if you're ever lost, if you have a problem, you go to a brown woman. So if we're so low vibrational, if we're such horrors, if we're such depraved individuals, why would people trust their children to safety with us? Do you understand the mental and the social engineering that has been propagated? You show us in one light, but in the underbelly, we're the most trusted females. We can take care of anyone's children. We wouldn't hurt them. We wouldn't rape them. We wouldn't hurt them. We wouldn't try to take their organs. We wouldn't try to sell them. Do you understand? So why would you do that? So it speaks volumes to how social engineering has really taken on some form of degenerate values, where people will know that women of color where your children are safest, but on the other part, we're depraved and we're disgusting. And we deserve to be kidnapped and marginalized and treated. And why is it that in our community that we are the most mistreated within the realm with our men. Because remember, the psychological operation that has been designated to brown families ever since the 60s and the 50s, when brown families were at the height of their protection, where fathers would give their lives for their family. How come most of the brown men are leaving their families? You know why? Because the social engineering is so powerful. That community is being constantly targeted because they know that a brown family with strength would literally blow this firmament open. And that's why you're seeing a lot of, and that's why I won't, me personally, there's no shade to you men, but when I see a brown man and he jumps ship and he doesn't protect his brown mother, people who look like his mother, people who look like his sister, and he jumps ship to another community to protect them, I already know he's suffering from Stockholm syndrome. I already know that he's sick, and that isn't somebody I would even let into the fold. I know already that that person isn't healthy and they're suffering from all forms of psychological warfare, and that by the means of him jumping over and not protecting his own community and prioritizing another community, it already knows that he's already lost, and we have to let him go, and we can't let him back in the fold, because that whoever is subject that easily to mind control programming is weak genetically, is weak psychologically, and we need to hold them to that. If a man is mistreating, and I tell you, sea stars, another thing, if a man has left his family, a brown family, and has let his children be out left to the wolves, and his wife or his previous child's mother, and he's left them to the wolves not to protect them, you need to leave him to the wolves. You do not need to bring him out. He shouldn't be allowed in any community that's healthy, because that is a sign of psychological warfare that has been successful, and he will damage any community he's let back into. It isn't the natural directive for a man to not protect his children and family. And having an ex-wife or an ex-girlfriend doesn't even matter. He wants his children to be protected and safe, and he wants them to be grown in a very healthy environment. And by that nature, he would protect them and nurture them and provide for them. So I'm just saying, y'all, we got a problem because we have so-called, I'm all over the place. We have a so-called better system coming into play, but I actually feel that we've got to be more careful. And for those of you who are trying to build a better nation, get rid of those sleeper cells and get rid of the weak ones in your communities, because they're going to throw you under the bus during this next scene in the finale of the reset of the Matrix, because they'll throw you under the bus. You shouldn't trust anyone who doesn't uphold themselves and the value of themselves, or people that, because listen, if I go into a Lunar's house, which many times I do, and I see beautiful images of them with their families and, beautiful statues of like European statues of their culture and their nationality, I love it. I think that's amazing. I think that's beautiful. And I say, oh, wow, this is beautiful statues. But if I go in a brown person's house and I see a white Jesus, I'm running. If I see you upholding European standards, like if it's better than yours or you're emulating that because you have such self-loathing, I wouldn't even trust you with my dogs, because it says everything about you. And lunar women, you shouldn't sleep with brown men who hate their mothers and hate their women, because any man that starts off a preference like, that's why I don't date brown women, that's a man who's suffering from self-loathing. And if you give birth to his children, his child will hate themselves because he has that inside of him. Any man who loves himself would prioritize things that are like him. And if he's running from himself, you should run for the hills, because he will progenerate things about his self-loathing, and he will uphold you to a high standard because he doesn't like himself. And that's somebody, as a lunar woman, you should not want to even participate with, because that is catchy too. Okay? So I'm just giving you suggestions. You may want to sleep with them because, the sexual deviancy that is progenerated for, because brown men and brown women are considered to be sexual deviants, so that most people want to use them sexually. But I'm telling you, lunar women and lunar men, run for the hills when you have a person from their own nationality that hates themselves, because they will see children that hate themselves. A lot of what I've seen in life, and unfortunately, and it saddens me, that a lot of mixed children, especially that have a brown an African American or African parent, they suffer from self-loathing, and it's very sad, and it's not fair. It's not fair. You breed with people who hate themselves, you breed children that hate themselves. And that's not something we should accept. We should accept people that love themselves, who prioritize themselves, and don't get it twisted, y'all. We're not the only community, because my homegirl told me in Vietnam, they're bleaching their skin too. In Asia, they're bleaching their skin too. So there's a whole lot of self-loathing people. Like, why in Vietnam are you in a hot region when it's hot and sweaty and you're covering all your body with clothing because you don't want to get a tan, because you don't want any dark skin on you, right? How come you're in Vietnam and it's like 90 degrees and 100% humidity, and you got every inch of your body covered because you can't stand to let the sun touch you, because any dark skin is considered to be lower. And even your beautiful dark Asianic skin would make you feel like you don't like yourself. So we're not the only one, yo. So when I speak about us, it's because I'm speaking from a self position of what's coming from our community. But when I'm talking about the self-loathing and the issues with melanin, even though it's being sold on the black market more than gold, it's a systemic issue that's propaganded. It's just like this is like the number 13 of the black cat. They will generate that 13 as a negative number, though it's a power number, it amplifies. And they will generate to you that the black cat is bad luck. But meanwhile, in everything they do, they have a black cat, and a black cat is brings and opens portals. And they'll generate that black is dirty, but every occultist has to wear black if they have light skin, because they can't bring any power without black, because it absorbs power. It absorbs all spectrums of light. So this is an issue. They're generating everything that's to us. They'll say it's negative, but they're all using the same thing. So I don't know. Hold on, y'all. Let me open up. Hold on. Okay. I think I'm on a rant today. I don't know if this is a really good video, y'all. I may not keep it up because I'm not focused. I'm kind of going on a rant, so I hope you don't mind. I'm talking about things that are on my mind. And unlike that YouTuber who sat here and followed and made a video, he made a video all based on everything I talked about. I don't have to read books to speak off the top of my head. I don't have to study information in order to have some sort of qualified wisdom to share it with you. Okay? I'm not sitting here writing biologs of all of the things that I'm reading and basically copying and pasting it and spitting and regurgitating to you. Everything I speak to you is 90% off the rip. Okay? Because I'm organic. Okay? I mean, I know that the world is, you prefer a woman who's thinner, who's on what is it? What's that? Ozempics? Like, I know you prefer to see a woman who's on Ozempic, whose cheekbones are sucked in because she's suffering from malnutrition or has got tons of liposuction. Okay, I know you prefer a woman that gets fake boobies and she spends a whole bunch of money so her boobies are popped up under her neck. I know you prefer a woman whose bum is up to, got all kinds of upper butt and her thighs don't match, who looks like an ant person, but I'm organic. I know you prefer a girl who wears weaves and hair things, and no shade to them, but you talk about my messy hair. I'm just coming as I am. Okay? That's it. No shade to women who do it. Nothing wrong with it, but I'm just saying, like, I feel like sometimes the things that are being progenerated and like amplified is everything artificial. And then when a woman or a man comes on and they look like humans, like organic humans, they're vilified. Like I said it before at the beginning of the video. Not to say that, I show myself and, you think I'm being a pervert by just showing my natural form and that bothers you. But why does my natural form bother you? But when you see artificial girls who have artificial eyelashes, everything on them, makeup tutorials for 20 days, that you literally accept that. So it makes me think that everybody accepts fakeness. And when something comes on to you that's real, that it bothers everyone. That's the mind control programming. That's literally the mind control programming. And I don't mean to say, like, I'm not the most beautiful girl in the world. I'm not skinny. Like, I remember someone meeting me and they're like, oh, like, she's fat. Like, why would you want to meet me and the first thing you do is criticize me when you meet me? You know what I mean? Like, I never progenerated myself like I was skinny. I mean, I could be, right? If I went and did the massive extreme things, but I eat pretty organic, pretty healthy. I'm not overeating every time, and this is my natural form. Okay, so I could understand if I was overeating, if I'm eating too much and I'm eating garbage and things that are unorganic, and that would show up in my skin and my hair. But the fact of the matter is, if I can show up organic and people can still criticize me, it's interesting. That's all. And again, I'm not the prettiest girl in the world. I'm not trying to make everyone say that I'm beautiful because I'm not. I'm an average woman from an average world. I do average things. I have supernatural things that occur, but I'm very average. And when I come to you and just share things, I think that you should subscribe to someone that you feel more in alignment with, rather than coming on a video and looking at everything that's wrong or that you perceive that's wrong and just write me an epilogue of what's going on with me that's sick. Okay? Okay? That's all. I'm on a rant today. It's actually a beautiful day. It's actually a beautiful day. I just thought I'd share about Elon Musk. And I don't mean to go on a rant because today's a rant day. I don't know. Um, yeah, no, there's a couple comments I get, and occasionally I will address it, especially when I feel like someone. Oh, another thing that someone said, I can address some of the questions or comments that people say. Um, if you ever felt that I ever spoke ill of Africa, the continent of Africa, or any country in it, please, I apologize if you ever thought that. Africa is the most amazing, fruitful. I mean, all of our resources. I mean, it is gorgeous. I mean, if you're talking about Zambia, Namibia, Kenya, Nairobi, Nigeria, Ghana, Ethiopia, Eritrea, um, Mauritius, Sudan, North Sudan, South Sudan, Morocco, Gambia. I mean, Africa is 54, Somalia, the most beautiful continent. So if you ever, let me say this, if you ever felt that I ever spoke ill of Africa, please know that I wouldn't ever. First of all, it's the biggest continent. It's bigger than all of us. So in that in itself, I love Africa. I think it's beautiful. I think where you hear that I'm from the Americas, and because I accept that I'm from the Americas, doesn't mean I speak ill of anything Africa. I know many of our family from Africa, and they're some of the most beautiful people. They're so sweet and kind and helpful and amazing. And I wouldn't ever say that you're something low. There's too many countries, and I can't judge every country because I would be ignorant. So if you ever felt that I spoke ill of Africa, please let me make an apology and let you know that I haven't ever felt that way. Okay? So just to FYI, because I think someone said that they may be new to the channel, and I may have said something during one of my conversations that made them think that I feel that Africa's lower. I can't feel Africa's lower because there's too many countries in Africa for me to say that. Like, there are other countries that may be more what is perceived to be more rural based, or people more tribal based. And then there's other countries like Nigeria, and that their technology is beyond some places in China, in Asia. So please, I just wanted to state that because someone said that, and it actually hurt my feelings because I really didn't want them to think that ever. I love where I come from. And because I love where I come from doesn't mean I hate where you come from. That's all. And so I just wanted to state that. Okay? All the things that we get, resources and everything's from Africa. How dare I even make anything from Africa seem lower? It's you know what I mean? So I just want to put that out there because I felt a certain way. That gentleman felt really insulted, and I felt bad that he felt that I thought ill of Africa. So, Jumbo. Yeah, Jumbo. Um, Elon's half white, half Chinese. Is Elon half Chinese, y'all? Is Elon? Virginia says, I didn't know that, Virginia. Virginia, is that true? I didn't. That could be, maybe that's why he has an interest. I know he has, okay. I know he's from South Africa. I know that. Which also means he comes from a very colonistic, a heavy colonistic family. Look at his dad. Okay, I didn't know. His grandfather was from Minnesota? Okay. Did you see the fake made baby, made Chinese Elon? There's a video. Okay. Dad married his what? He's genetic. I'm listening to all the comments. Y'all are messy. Y'all are messy. I don't know for a fact. I can't, I suspect certain things, but he looks like a bioborg. He acts like I mean, I would put a bet. I would put, like, that's how much I know he's like some sort of cyborg. I would put I would make 70%. I won't say 80 because, I could always 20% I'll leave for chance, but I would say 70% he's a cyborg, or he's got some sort of technology in him. He's like half bio, he's like a bioborg. He doesn't have any natural behavior. Like, even his speech is he's got some sort of speech impediment that is more linked to being a cyborg than it is human. Like, something's up with him, y'all. And the fact of the matter is, he shouldn't be put in any position of power. The man owns everything. He has so much money. Why would you place him in a position? No, there shouldn't be any billionaire running this country. There shouldn't be any person. Asperger? Now, he might have Asperger's just because you might be right. But Elon shouldn't be in control of anything. That amount of wealth already makes him suspect. I just, it's going to be very interesting, y'all. And also, that's if Trump even makes it. Because again, now, many of you know, I don't have a dislike for Trump personally, because he's a New Yorker. And, New Yorkers, we generally have a preference for each other. I think that's normal, right? It's healthy. I think it's healthy. Trump isn't a racist either, for y'all who think that. That I know for a fact. He's not racist. And when I say that, when I say the concept of racist, he kind of hung out with a whole bunch of brown hip hop people and also date a brown woman that he preferenced. And he had the crazy woman, the reptile, in his house, Omarosa. And I heard word on the curb is he likes some Omarosa. And Omarosa, she's beautiful. Like, Omarosa's got a beautiful figure and but she's a reptile. Allegedly, okay? He had Omarosa. So I'm just saying, when people say, like, there's certain things you could dislike about Trump and Kamala, but let's keep our critical thinking, clear. He isn't a racist. Like, that's what I'm saying. When you say racist people, like, and I don't believe in race. There's no such thing as race. All of us, if I can make a baby with you and you're a lunar man, we're the same race, okay? Cats are of the same race. So if you have a cat and it's a striped cat and she meets a brown cat, a black cat, and she has babies and she wants to have sex with that black cat and they have beautiful babies like spotted or striped or black, that's the same race, same species, okay? So generally with the same species, if I can't have babies with you, then we're different species. But if I can have babies with you, now negative and positive roots, then I would question of we're the same species. But complexions doesn't make you a different race. It's just different hues of the same race. So I just bring that in there because a lot of people think that race is a real construct. That is a political construct that is artificial. It hasn't any bearing. There's always been lighter and darker cousins. If you're O positive like me and you're a lunar, you're my cousin. We have shared ancestors. We share same lineage. So I'm just a more copper skin version of your ancestors. That's it. So I'm just saying, when we bring up race, I just bring it up because y'all know what I'm talking about. But when you say Trump is racist, I definitely don't agree. He's a lot of other things. He likes women. He likes to grab their vaginas. I do believe he did that. So when people say, is he a little bit of like something with the women? Yeah, you could tell. Look how many wives he had. Yeah, he likes the women. He's rude. He's probably ruthless with women. He's probably a little bit of a perv. I could accept Trump is like that. But as far as racist, no. He likes who he likes. And if you're a decent person, I see him. So I don't really have a personal thing with Trump, but I also know that he's in a position of power, and for him to be there means he's of the bloodline of the others. He just may be, we may like him, be more palatable to us, but he's definitely for the bloodline of them. You know what I mean? And also, he's being worshipped by those who are in the echelon of people we should be concerned about. Okay, that's it. Yeah, I don't have a problem with I don't have a problem with Trump in that way. But I will say to you, according to the rumors of what may happen, oh, and there's another bit of information. I hope I'm not going to rant. Let me know if I'm going to. Please put a like on the video if you're okay with the rant today. It's really not a focus video. I like to stay focused because I know you guys get on me. It's not a focus video. So just forgive me for the rant today. I'm all over the place. But I will say this. Word on the curb is I have a C-star. She's not here right now. But she let me know that there was bets. Like you guys could bet on if Kamala would win or if Trump would win. Remember that? And hold on, y'all. And oops, booyah. Hold on. Put my lip gloss on. See, I'm very human. I have to put lip gloss on because I'm living in a very dry region. I like this lip gloss. Sorry, y'all. That was a lip gloss break. Lip gloss break. Okay. Lip gloss be popping, right? I like lip gloss. My little ones always try to take my lip glosses. Remember from the 80s? Who's from the 80s? Remember we were like obsessed with lip gloss? We were obsessed with lip gloss. All you need is lip gloss and eyeliner, right? Black eyeliner and lip gloss. That's as much makeup as you're gonna get from me. Occasionally I'll do red when I'm doing something else. But when we talk about my girlfriend who she had someone in her family who did a gambling, who gambled on Kamala to win, and you get a payout. But you know what was crazy about that? She said that they didn't get paid. They didn't take the money for the bet for Kamala losing. And they said they won't pay out the bet until February 4th. Do you know why that's crazy? I've never heard, like normally if someone wins like a game or something, right? They pay you out, right? They usually pay, like if Kamala lost, okay, so you lost, so the person who voted for Trump will win. And this is a legitimate one, y'all. Why would they say they're not going to pay out until February 4th? Can you can you tell me, y'all, what you think? Why do you think they're not going to pay off the bet until February 4th? Let me hear your thoughts on that. Mhm. I see some I see some things in there. Mhm. Yes, AJ. Yeah. Yeah. And also, let's add a little bit of conspiracy to it. How come they're saying that Kamala's asking for Joe, pooping President Joe, Kazoo, to step down so she can actually hold presidency for the 30 days prior to the inauguration of Trump? Let's hear what you have to say. Please put your comments in there. The question is, why would Kamala or whoever's running Kamala, because we know Mr. Kamala is not running herself. She's under an umbrella of a host of other beings. But why would they ask for Joe to step down for her to hold presidency for 30 days prior to the election? I mean, to Trump taking his getting certified. It's a conspiracy, y'all. It's a conspiracy. Let's see what you're saying. Because they're planning a show. She's trying to take control and denounce him before he swears in. Well, we looked it up the other night. Big up to the Zombies. We were on an all-night Zoom. But you know what's crazy? We looked it up, and we looked up the fact of the matter is, if Trump takes on, he goes through with his certification, Vance would take over if something happened to Trump. So I was trying to figure out, what if Trump didn't make it to certification? Who then takes on, because I thought if he doesn't take it, doesn't the vice president, but it means his whole administration isn't legitimized if he's not certified. If he doesn't get certified, that means his whole party isn't, then it doesn't it default to the previous party who was running? I'm asking y'all, because you may know. Because they're already planning a coup, y'all. This is the one thing I say, they're planning a coup. Yes, Vance's wife is Kamala 2.0. Oh, you heard her name. She looked her up, and Vance is not his real name. Oh, y'all are doing your due diligence. I'm just asking, because how many days out? Can someone actually do the count? Can someone look for the count of how many days we have until certification? I think his certification is January 20th. Can someone do the count? Count out how many days is that? So the 20th of January is when he gets, if I'm correct, is when he gets certified. Trump gets certified. So the 20th, right? How many days? Can someone do the count of how many days until that? Because if he isn't certified, who gets the position? And why are they making a big deal to make her the president before Trump is actually 69 days? Thank you, y'all. Thank you. 65 to 69 days. 68 days? Okay, roughly. Thank you, Delmache. That makes me think that they're going to plan a coup. Whether they'll defame him and say, oh, he doesn't have rifle, he's going to get arrested, whatever. I don't think they can run that again, because I think he has immunity. Doesn't he have immunity at this point? I think as someone who won the presidency, doesn't he get immunity? 68 days. Thank you, y'all. He has immunity. So if he has presidential immunity, doesn't he? So that means they can't run the whole arrest thing, right? So if they can't arrest him, what else would they do to make sure he doesn't make it into presidency? Maybe a planned assassination. They did that before, was kind of thwarted. I don't know. But what could they do? If a war kicks off, now let me ask you, y'all. You guys are the smarter ones in this. I'm gonna leave it to my wonderful cast of amazing subscribers here. Let me ask you, you smarty pants, because you guys are smarter when it comes to this. This isn't my cup of tea. Let me ask you a question. If in fact we go to war before the president is the new president is certified, do we postpone the inauguration? Come on, y'all, put your thinking caps on, because they're trying to do something, and I know it's a coup. So let me know, smarty pants. Y'all know. Continuation of government. I think censored mom said it. Okay, so it suspends election. Y'all, I think they're going to do this. Why? Is because the Senate had a meeting. Was it the Senate? The Senate had a meeting the other day talking about how they're trying to not something against Trump. And then all of a sudden, when I said, when they're trying to get Kamala to take on presidency, why would they do that? Why would they? What does it matter that if she lost, right? If Kamala lost her during the voting, she lost. What would it matter that you put her in position and have the president step down and give her the position? What would it matter? There are 350. Alicia Lee says the 350 trucks of FEMA in Michigan. Y'all, I smell a coup. Y'all. 67 days. And she wants to have herself certified 30 days prior. I smell a rat here. I shouldn't say rat because I'm a rat, right? I smell a coup. And I really think that when the C star said, big ups to the C star who told me their family member who was betting. I wouldn't have even thought about all this. I was like, yeah, they're going to try to do something else. But this was interesting when, whenever you're betting, that's money. Why wouldn't they pay out the bet until February 4th? Why are you not paying the bet? What reasoning would you not pay a bet between presidents if someone obviously won? When you're betting on horses or football or soccer, they always pay you out right away. Why are they postponing it until February 4th? As if they already know that something is going to happen. And remember, I told you they're setting up checkpoints. Make sure you don't have your real ID. I don't know if it's going to stop you being able to do that, but the real ID is part of that. Okay? What if? What if it's not from any outside force? Maybe it's from the weaponized. Remember, because Trump is kicking off saying, hey, I'm going to kick all you immigrants out. Okay? I'm going to kick you out. But remember the lunar lady, remember she was in Wisconsin or wherever she was. Remember I told you? She said that they were getting arms, the so-called immigrants, but they never used the arms. Why would you give them a bunch of arms unless you were planning for them to use it? Right? We need to keep our spidey senses like high. Like we have to pay attention, y'all, because this is, like I said, it's the finale. The pole shift is amongst us. And I always say this when people say, why do you think the pole? Spain nearly flooded. I don't know if you noticed, Spain flooded. You've got auroras in places that shouldn't be. The freaking moon is out all day. Okay. Remember back when you were younger? Where are my Generation Xers and my baby boomers? Because remember, the young people may not remember this because they may have already did change the simulated sky. But when was it that the moon stayed out all day? The moon is out all day long, y'all. All day long. Okay? The moon does not. Remember back when we were little, we had books. When the sun comes up, the moon goes to sleep. When the sun wakes up, she goes, oh, the sun wakes up and the moon goes to sleep. Remember that back in the days? How come the moon is out during the day fully? The magnetic north has shifted. You've got auroras. We got a sea star who just showed us something. What was it, in South Carolina? Where was it? Where was she located? Who's in here from Ashe? It's you, Ashe, and Damashe. Where did she take the image of that ship looking aurora? Where is the ship that she took it? Because we were just watching that the other night. There's a sea star in my group who took a picture of some crazy looking, it looks like a spacecraft to be honest, but it looks like auroras too. Where did she take that again? Because why do you have auroras in like New Jersey, in New York, and why would you see auroras? Auroras normally you would see in Sweden, and in Petersburg, Russia. You would see auroras there, or Alaska. When would you see auroras in the middle? That's how you know the magnetic north is moving. Okay, Illinois. Thank you, thank you, Cesar. Delmasha let me know it was Illinois. She just took a picture. We looked at it the other night on Zoom. It was in Illinois, y'all. Why are we seeing auroras or things like that in Illinois? It was in Nappersville. Anyone from Nappersville, Illinois, did you see any weird lights in the sky? Let's get some consensus. Nappersville, Illinois. Anybody in Nappersville, Illinois? Let me know if you saw some weird lights in the sky. Anybody? Tennessee had auroras too. Please let me know, because we really have to really pay attention to this. It would explain why we see auroras. The magnetic north is moving, y'all, and it's moving hot and fast, like hot and fast. And also we have the flooding in Spain. Remember, the consensus is with the pole shift, all of Europe is flooded. And I've talked about this a few years ago because in it itself, with the pole shift, most of all this concept of the mud floods and all that is actually what happened. Also, did you see that huge, was it in Colombia? Big up to my Colombianas. Where are my Colombianas in the house? They just had a huge volcano shooting out flares, fire flares, and mud out of the volcano. A volcano. Now, someone confirmed this. A volcano exploded in Colombia, and it was shooting out fire flares, like flares out of the volcano. Okay. Let me know what you see. We've got a lot of things going on. Why does this matter? Is because Rudolph of Germany, the tall white alien, told us 8 years ago that they were going to create a smokescreen a false flag, a false narrative of World War III, and they would only do it right before the pole shift because it would distract most people, so they wouldn't be prepared for what happens with the pole shift. And with the pole shift, y'all, remember, every single volcano goes off simultaneously. That's where the whole concept of the mud flood comes from. Everything gets flooded, all the waters come up, massive amount of these huge tidal waves come onto the land. That's why being at a higher altitude is, I mean, a higher, yeah, higher altitude is very important. They said that all of Europe is going to be underwater. And you know what, y'all? Are you looking? And y'all, there was a big earthquake in Cuba and Jamaica thank you for reminding me, Sunstar. Who said that? Thank you for reminding me, Obsidian Blaze, because remember we had an earthquake in Cuba, but it was also in Jamaica. And this was right before. Why does that matter? Because it's on the Caribbean side, which is across from where? Colombia in South America. You said Cuba's still in the dark? Yeah, y'all. We're in the full pole shift. And I want each one of you to pay attention, because even though we talk about politics, remember, the goal is for them to hide what they're doing and totally keep you distracted so you aren't prepared for the pole shift. I told you to prepare for the pole shift and to make sure you weren't anywhere where there's any dormant or active volcanoes. You need to be on higher ground because all these tidal waves will come in during the pole shift. It is a switching the magnetosphere. You got to be between two latitude, between the tropics of Cancer and Capricorn. It's one of the reasons you got to pay attention. We talked about this for many, many years. It's upon us. And there's hail happening in countries, auroras all over the place. I want you to keep the eye on the prize, because as much as they keep us distracted with, P. Diddy and Sean Combs and politics and Kamala, that's not what we need to pay attention to. What you need to pay attention to is the pole shift and all of these different geographical and seismic activity, weather patterns changing. You gotta pay attention to that. Earthquakes happening on the Caribbean fault line. You gotta pay attention to that, because again, at the end of the day, when you see the historical remnants of mud floods, you gotta ask, how did that happen? And every single cycle, World War I, II, III, is going to be the same thing. Pay attention to why California is not updating all its insurance policies. Why is California not giving people insurance policies? Any of my Californians on here? Where's my West Coast family? Can you, because I have a Cali girl who told me this already. Can all of my Cali family tell me if that's true? Why aren't they updating your insurance policy and saying that if you won't pay the difference, a lot of them are starting to opt out of California? Let me confirm if this is true. Roderick says it's true. You couldn't, Obsidian Blaze said she couldn't get insurance either. Insurance game, that is true. Okay, y'all, why is it? So you think that they're doing this because they know something's coming. Why are they not doing with the insurance policy? You don't ask yourself the question, like, why all of a sudden can we have insurance in California? If we're so safe and this is a coverage to help us protect our homes and our belongings, why aren't they upholding your insurance policies? Look at the West Coast family, y'all. I want everyone in here to pay attention. This is the rant you want to hear. Let's get out of the politics. You ready for this? You ready for the pole shift? Put a like on the video if you want to go into the pole shift, y'all. Let's get it in. I got a little time today. Let's get in. Let's stop talking about politics and all these craziness going on, because really at the end of the day that doesn't matter. Okay? Let's get on the pole shift. So we got the magnetic north moving. We've got all these auroras showing up in a different place. We had hail coming up in places that we've never seen before. Then we have volcanoes going off. We got earthquakes preempting in the Caribbean, shaking up and opening up and making alive a volcano over in Colombia. We have Spain flooding. We had all of Europe flooding. And if you notice, they don't want the Europeans coming onto YouTube anymore. A lot of our European family, biggest our European family, one of our sea stars, she comes on occasionally, she's on my Zoom. She said There's so much flooding in Europe. Where are my European family here? Because I know you guys are 6 hours ahead. Where's my European family here? From the UK, from France, from Spain, from Italy. Where are you? Is it true that you guys have been flooding over the last 6 months? Let's see if we get verification, y'all. Let's talk about the pole shift. Are y'all getting flooded? Hey, MG, Diddy's in the house. Sean, behave yourself, Sean Combs. You need to do right, Sean, by those little beautiful little girls you got. Okay? So if you're the Diddy, if you're Sean Combs from Mount Vernon, New York, because I know you from Mount Vernon, do right by your daughters. Okay? Oh, the Diddy distraction. I mean, London in the house. Okay, we got London in the house. Come on, European family. I know you in here. Come on, UK. Sade the goddess in the house. Okay? Come on in. Let me know. Was it flooded, Sade? Okay, yes. Getting wiped out. Okay, they're getting wiped out. Okay. Let's see our European family. According to, okay, wait, hold on. The flood season. Okay, where's our European? I am from the Netherlands, live in Spain, many floods and no in Malaga and NOE in Malaga. Thank you, my family. Sweden here. Sweden's in the house. Look at our European family showing up. Come on, show up and show out. Estonia drowned in the spring. Okay, Hey, Maggie. I know Annie's in here. Hey, Maggie. Northern Ireland in the house. What's good? Europe is in the house. Beautiful. I love our European. Come on, European family. Come on in. Okay, yes, they are banning diesel mobile homes. Oh, okay, out here. That's somewhere else. Manchester, UK is in the house. Okay, so Maria, are you guys getting flooded out there? So I got C-Star told us that you guys are getting flooded out there from the map. From the Zeta Talk map, many of you know about it. Amsterdam in the house. Look at our European family. Come on. Europe is flooding. And a lot of you are concerned about your crops not growing because they'll be flooded out and they won't be able to survive. So really the flooding is causing issues with the crops in Europe, right? So yes, Brian, absolutely. The Hopi prophecy is coming true. The pole shift is not a joke. Yep. Okay, so let's Birmingham in the house. We got the UK in the house. I need to come see y'all up there. Manchester, UK. I got to come see y'all before it floods out. Yes, okay, just returned. Germany has been hit hard. Spain is getting hit hard too. Thank you, just because. So Germany as well is flooded, y'all. Sage is telling us. See, y'all, how come we're not hearing about our European family? Spain is suffering. Farmers are being destroyed by our government. Y'all, I am so sorry. Look at this, y'all. So when we talk in terms of what's going on, look at what's happening to our European family. From what we understand is that Europe is going to be flooded out. And also European family, your government had set you up too, because you had this whole concept of immigration coming in too. So when you go, like when I tell people who go to France and so on, you got a huge amount of immigrants that have come from other places. But remember what Rudolph of Germany told us many years ago. He said that they were flooding Europe with others from Africa and Arab countries because they want to take their land. So a lot of the Europeans of high wealth and higher resources, they went into Africa and took over their places, and then they sent all the Africans over to you. Unfortunately, I wish the Africans stayed in Africa to procure their land and keep their land so it would be protected. But what they're doing is sending all the Africans out of the country so that they could take over their land masses. So I heard nothing about Germany. Wow. Yeah. So Germany, we have Germany, Spain, UK. Y'all pay attention. We got to really support our family in Europe as well. They're going through the same thing that the United States is going in. You think that it's just us. Okay, Switzerland is not having it. Navajo, you know why Switzerland is not having it? Because Switzerland is the hub of the diabolicals. Remember, all of the dark Kabbalists are all in Switzerland. Remember the Swiss accounts back in the days you used to hear about? Remember all about that? Remember we used to hear about that? Because Switzerland is protected. They are the hub. They're the hive. Okay? Snow and flooding in Saudi Arabia, desert, South Africa. This is pole shift weather, y'all. A lot of places flooded. They're not showing it. They're not showing you what's happening in Europe, y'all. Only reason I know is because our C-Star is from Europe, and she told us that Europe is flooding. Yes, Switzerland is very neutral and war. That's right, Chosen. Absolutely. So I want everyone in here, I want you to keep your thinking caps on, and I want you to understand that what's happening in Europe is what is going to happen in the US. And there's a reason why they're not letting Americans in a lot of countries now. They want to keep you here because remember, part of it, and CERN is in Switzerland too. You're absolutely right, Obsidian. The money's in Switzerland. That's right, Nine Ether Empress. Speak. China's been having bad floods. Well, China gets decimated every pole shift. And I want everybody to remind everybody, you're hearing about Canada is not allowed to view any of our media here, so they don't know what's going on. Absolutely love her. They're trying to keep all, that's why it's good for you to have a VPN. Make sure that everyone in here has a VPN, because the only way I get news from my other countries is because I put a VPN so they can't tell where I am, so I can listen to other YouTube contents and content that we are banned from listening here. You know, in Brazil, they're banning a lot of content. You know, our Brazilian family, big up to our Brazilian family. They're not hearing a lot of things that are happening here because they don't want them to get riled up from what's happening here. The way that they isolate certain countries from hearing any news outside is because it literally will disallow them to understand what could be coming to them. Okay? Because it's a setup. Snowing in Saudi Arabia, first time in history, Driz said. I'm so sorry. Saudi Arabia is having, so this is a pole shift, y'all. And when you think that I'm not talking about real, I want you to look into all these comments, because you think sometimes, oh, Flurburn, you're making it up. Oh, it's not the truth. You know what I mean? Flurburn, stop saying things like that, because it's, no, this is a pole shift. I've been talking about it for years, y'all. It's not a, listen, whether it's a coup in your country, whether the government is trying to do something to y'all, it doesn't even matter. Because if we're going through a full-on pole shift, you have to be in higher ground. And you have to make sure you aren't living places where there is a large amount of volcanoes. In China, look at China's map, y'all. Put up China's map and volcanoes. That is why the Chinese have migrated all over the world, because their entire country gets inundated by volcano eruptions. That whole place will be blown apart. Okay? That's why the Chinese have purposefully and strategically move its people all in Africa, South America, and the Americas. Okay? And whatever places are not touched by the pole shift, you got the smart cities, which the freedom cities is what your new president will call it. As soon as he says the freedom cities, y'all, you should run for the hills. As soon as he mentions, come to the freedom cities, we've got tons of Elon AI to protect you. We have all of the soil and green possible. You won't ever starve because we crushed down the crickets and the roaches. You won't have a roach in sight, y'all, because it will be all in the food sources. Do you know that they're putting beetles and roaches and crickets in the food already? So for all of you who are having allergic reactions to your food, do know, because if you have a seafood allergy to shrimp or to any crustaceans, do know if you're getting any allergies to food, it's most likely because they're crushing down crickets and roaches, which give you the same reaction. Bodily, you get some of the same reactions to it. Okay? Be mindful. And we don't want to even talk about Yellowstone, right? Obsidian Blaze. Yellowstone is a whole different thing. And that's been, brewing and brewing and brewing. Yellowstone will take out all of the West Coast. It'll take out the West Coast. It'll take out the Midwest in one jump. And that'll be a way to get you into the smart cities. That's why you should start prepping right now for any sort of, make sure that you're going up in higher ground. Make sure you're staying away from big cities. Make sure you know the perimeters of being between the tropics of Cancer and Capricorn, because those are the places that are less inundated by huge amount of floods and weather wars. That's why they're trying to stop you from moving and going around places. That's why African actors and actresses are being preferenced here in the United States, because Africa had less of the problems coming with the pole shift. Okay? So the pole shift in itself literally does not affect a lot of Africa, but there is a split that's going to happen in Africa, which I think is happening in Kenya. Kenya, where are my Kenyans? Kenyan, you have that big slit, that big, what is it? It's like a big, huge slit that's happening all throughout the country. If you may pay attention near the courthouse and across America, you'll see the constitution of the new headquarters, 15-minute cities, with the purple street lights on the main. Wait a second, y'all. Okay, MGE. if you pay attention near the courthouse is across the US, you will see the construction of new headquarters, 15-minute cities with the purple streetlights on the main street. They're from any railway. Thank you, MGE. Did you hear that, y'all? And did you know Australia? Where's my Australian family? Australian family, you know that you're a safe zone because you're between the tropics of Cancer and Capricorn, especially over in kilometer. No, where is it? What's the name of the southern part? Where's my Australian family? It's over. We had one of our sea stars Z who went to move over there. It's what is it? It's called. It's like a very native sounding name. Where's my Australian family? It's on it's a safe zone over there. And I wonder if they're causing problems on that side. Where's our family in it's not kilometer, it's God darn it, I know the name, y'all. It's not New Zealand. Where is it? Who's in Australia? It's a native name. It's on the other side. I think it's more south. I want our Australian family to let me know. It's a Z went to go move there. I forgot what it was called. Yes, Tasmania. Thank you, Just Because. I love you. Just Because said it, Tasmania is a safe location. Now, let me know if Tasmania, thank you, Eon, and Enoch 21. Tasmania, is there anything going on that they're trying to restrict people in Tasmania? Because that's a safe zone. And also New Zealand. I think wherever there's a safe zone, they're going to try to cause, because remember, if you look at the map between the tropics of Cancer and Capricorn, you're going to see that that area sits very comfortably in between in between the meridians. So I want our family in Australia to pay attention to that. Um, I believe most places getting flooded because of what happened to. Do you agree, Florburn? Um, I think everything is retribution to a certain degree, even though it's part of the mud flood, that happens when the firmament floods out everything and starts on new lands. Oh, new lands. Hood Alchemy said new lands. Progressive Insurance in Australia has been preparing for pole shift since they started the business. Progressive was founded in Ohio. Do you hear that, 99 Divine? Australians, pay attention. Australia and New Zealand are crazy with the jabs and stuff. Well, I think they're trying to clear out the people, but it doesn't mean the land is not safe. It's not because, but the land, the new lands. Thank you, Chocolate Notes. Why you need to pay attention to that? They probably don't want many people there. It's kind of like Hawaii. They want to clear the people out, but but that land between the tropics of Capricorn, that's a safe location. Unless you have volcanoes. Make sure you look at the volcanoes, but for what I understand, it's fine. It's a way to upset restless spirits. We're stoned and beaten on the shores of the local rivers. Okay. So I want my Australian family to do an investigation of Tasmania and see what's going on over there, the new lands. See what kind of propaganda they have. See what the government is planning. Are there any smart cities in that area? I think we have all the smart cities listed, but not all of them. So I don't think Tasmania is on that list. I know that where's oh gosh, where's you guys in I think your main hub in Australia is what's it called? It's where the opera house is. Where's the opera house, y'all? I can't remember the name. I should really know it better. Did you hear about the Kentucky explosion? Yes, I heard about the Kentucky. Oh my God, Christina, you're so on point. We've got Sydney. I think the smart city is in Sydney, y'all. Thank you, y'all. Thank you. You're so amazing. And yes, I heard about the explosion, another explosion of chemical bioweapons up in Kentucky, y'all. Listen, the United States is definitely, they're chemicalizing everything and they're poisoning the air and the water and the soil. So that's purposefully done. Another explosion, just like in Georgia and Kentucky. Our Kentucky family, pay attention. Also with the integration in the black male boys taught by mostly Europeans. Okay. I'm in Kentucky. Miriam, pay attention. Miriam, Israel, pay attention to what happened in Kentucky. Pay attention. Don't be careful. Put some eucalyptus in the house. Slow burning, oil, oil, oil lamps with eucalyptus to kind of dismantle some of the chemicals. We don't know what's in the air. from the bio lab. Another bio lab, you don't think this is by chance? The escaped monkeys in South Carolina, the explosion in Palestine, in Ohio, multiple explosions. In Texas, there was also an explosion. Then you have now in Kentucky, Georgia. I mean, y'all, it's endless. Did you hear about the FEMA semi trucks in Michigan, 350 of them, and targeting 6 counties? Thank you, Cindy. We're going to pay attention to that. So everyone around, can you pay attention to where those Michigan 350 of the semis, FEMA, are going to 6 counties? They're preparing. Let me say to everybody, big up to everybody in here. Put some likes in the video if you like. It may not be me you like, but I got some fantastic sea stars and sun stars in here, and they about that life, and they basically letting everybody know here, support each other. Remember, you may not like people around you that are part of the system of tyranny, but darn Skippy, you got some real ones in here. Support each other, find each other, and just talk to each other in code. What city in Kentucky? I forgot what city, Michael. You got to look it up. I heard it early in the rising. Everybody needs to support each other quietly. You can't do it on social media. If you find each other in our little chat, find each other, code it, and then do little smoke. You know how back in the days the natives used to do the smoke in the air? So we like talk to each other through that. We gonna have to do weird kind of coding to talk to each other, y'all. We gonna have to regress back to the way our ancestors used to speak to each other and just like do smoke codes in the air. Okay? So for our family in Australia, pay attention. In Europe, you already know. Europe is always called, unless you go more north and you go towards the definitely towards Switzerland. I think there's like a whole bunch of vampires in Switzerland, so I wouldn't say you go there, because they probably have underground tunnels all underneath there with vampires. So I would say y'all get to the borders of the tropics of Cancer and Capricorn, okay? So you can get good food, zero chemtrails, and get out of the way, okay? Because the smart cities, we talked about everybody getting out of the smart cities. All of the bigger cities are going to be used as smart cities, and they're going to try to destroy all the countrysides to make you move closer to the smart cities. They got to get you there, and they're going to do all kinds of shenanigans to get you into the smart cities. Smoke signals. Remember that, y'all? With Girl Scouts, I remember that, Christina Foster. Smoke signals, y'all. We gonna have to be like our ancestors back in the days. You know what I'm saying? If I'm over in Australia and I know you in Tasmania, I might do a 3 little puff in the sky at 12 midnight to let you know I'm over here. You don't have to say a word. I'm just going to put a little fire out, and I'm going to make sure I direct 3 puffs of smoke in the air, maybe with some lights or lasers, to let you know we here. So don't say anything. Just make sure. Oh, it's Louisville, Kentucky. Cindy said Louisville, Kentucky, for our Kentucky family. That's where the explosion was. Okay? And for all you others, do a little puff, not the puff smoke in your mouth. Maybe you smoking a peace pipe, but you all need to do some smoke signals to let y'all know that the others are out there. Okay. Because back in the days, the sea stars, we used to go to the trees and in the forest, and we weren't afraid. We used to go into the forest and meet with each other and had our little meetings and then leave. Okay. And be careful with these Smithitarians, because you know they're in all kinds of groups. You got to feel it in your heart and your soul that you could trust people, because people will come to you and they'll be set up, but make sure you feel it in your stomach. Remember, that's why they mess with our stomach. So if you want to know if someone's the real one, fast for like 48 hours. Your stomach, your solar plexus will always know if someone's right or wrong. Okay. So you got to use your discernment. If once you could trust them, then you guys just do your little signals. Don't talk about it on the phone. Don't come on social media talk about what you're going to do. Don't say anything. If you're going to travel together, you do a plan quietly. Don't bring your cell phones. Go out in the woods, because that's the only way that the trees will dismantle some of the frequencies. As I'm listening to you, make sure you play a little loud ding ding music, like some sort of like usually the bells or something. That means they can't listen to you, and whisper. Okay, so if you go out there, bring an old-fashioned radio with batteries, play some ding-ding music, because that'll cover and cloak your voices when you're talking, and then talk to them in the woods. I'm not telling you to do this. I'm just saying, if I was somebody, I would definitely do this. Okay? Okay? Yeah, just you go. It's about them times, y'all. I understand everyone's happy or sad that Trump won or lost or whatever Trump won, but I'm telling you, he's shouting out that he's going to get rid of these people. I think they're going to create a coup. And if they do a coup, it's going to be from the inside. And once that coup starts and something happens to Trump, it's on a poppin'. And you're not going to have much time to do anything because the crazies will be obsessed with water, toilet paper, and guns. And once people, and you don't know, like I'm watching this movie. It's War of the Worlds. I don't know if do you guys see the War of the Worlds? It's a new series on Prime. Yo, I started watching it last night. Did you see it? I got a little nervous watching it, y'all. Normally I don't get nervous watching shows, but when these aliens were emitting a frequency that causes everybody to drop dead, yo, that movie, if you want to see it, y'all, don't watch it if you're not ready, because I wasn't ready. I didn't know. Like, I watch it, it's a different kind of War of the Worlds. Because remember, if you watch the movie, it's different. But definitely, it is definitely programming, and definitely be careful watching it because they will tell you, just like in uh, Night of the Comet. They'll tell you go in metal. They'll say go inside metal, go in places that's metal, so you'll be safe. If you believe that, if you believe that, did you see the subway scene that the other night? There was a video. I don't know if it was on. I don't know if it was recently in the subway, but remember they were in the subways and there was electrical problem on the tracks, and people said don't touch anything in the subways. Do please refrain from the conditioning, because what they'll do is they'll tell you the truth of things, but they'll set you up. There isn't any way that you should be in any metal at any time of a huge, even a solar flare. Metal pulls plasma to it. It pulls energy to it, and it will electrify anyone in it. You shouldn't ever feel. Now a cave is different because cave is molded rock. It's covered with mud. That's why they don't want you making mud houses anymore. They want you to make, houses with metal, and they want you to have metal in between so it can amplify and bring more radiation to you. It's better that you stay somewhere inside of something that is protected by usually mud and rocks. Look at the Germans. Like when you go in Pennsylvania, big up to my Pennsylvanians, especially out in Philly. I had a house in Pennsylvania. The house that I bought was a German house, a huge house, beautiful farmhouse. Do you know that house was made with stone, like full stone, and just mud in between, no metal? You shouldn't be touching anything, going in anything. So when you watch that movie, War of the Worlds, the new series on Prime, do know when they tell you to go hide in something, do the opposite of everything they tell you, but watch the movie because they're telling you the truth. They're telling you the truth, but do refrain from doing the things they say is safe for safety. Because it's a propaganda movie. So they're meant to draw you in, but they're meant to tell you to do things that you think are in the movie. Nothing in the movie they tell you is safe is for safety. So no, it's the opposite. If you're in a van, if you're in a truck, if you're in something metal, if you're in a subway that's unsafe during a plasma storm or anything electrical, it will electrocute anything inside a metal. It will pull radiation to it. Okay? So just be mindful that if you notice, I don't wear metal on my body anymore. I told you why. Because when that doctor, who is Dr. Lee? He's a doctor, one of the sea stars that talked about him, who does he's a doctor in California, and he does a lot of he studies like radiation or things like chiropractic and things like that. But he said, do not wear metal on your body. And you know what's crazy? Whenever you go to your silver dealer and your gold dealer, for those who are still buying gold and silver, you know what's crazy? And I should know this, but maybe I don't know. Do you guys know this? Do you know that silver and gold aren't magnetic? Does anyone know that? Do you know that silver and gold aren't magnetic? I actually learned that last week. I don't know why I didn't know that. So when they check, like when you're checking, let's say you go get your gold tested, right? They check, and if it's not magnetic, it's most likely gold or silver. Holy cow. So when you wear pure gold, it's not magnetic. It's not. I used to think it was going to cause problems, but it doesn't. That's why they don't encourage, that's why they try to buy all your gold from you. It probably lends some sort of protection too. But I wouldn't wear any metal on you. Stop eating from metal pots, stop drinking from metal containers. All these so-called containers you're sending with your children with metal, you should only be drinking from glass, cooking from clay. And stop messing with plastic. Years ago when some people call me a little baddie, but you don't call me that anymore. I remember my husband came home years ago. This is maybe when my first daughter was born. And I had taken every plastic container remember they used to have copper to pipes to bring water into your house, and they don't have that anymore? Yeah, because they want you to get sick. Um, but yeah, I remember taking every plastic, everything out of my cabin. He was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I want no plastic in here. None." I threw out all the Tupperware, all the plasticware, all foil. You cooking with tin foil, you just waiting for, because remember, we're getting sprayed with metals. That's why people are magnetic. That's why they want you to be sprayed with metal. That's why it's good to scrape your skin and make sure you do chelations every time you get a chance. Because when you get plasma storms or electrical storms, that's why people get sick and headaches. Okay? You cannot be cooking with metal. I don't care what kind of metal it is. It's because of the times we're in. You got to make sure. So anyway. Yeah, graphene is in everything, all over the cars and stuff. Absolutely hood alchemy. Copper also, yeah. Yeah, cast iron, I wouldn't do it. It's metal. It's metal. We can't have any metal in our bodies. It's too much radiation all over the place. You're pulling it to you. They're spraying us with metals, a little nano. That's why you got to protect your skin, the surface of your skin. You got to do a chelation. You got to make sure it's as much metals as in your body. And when they do the really big grand flash, if you got heavy metals in body, it's a wrap. It doesn't even matter. Yes, they also put negative and corrupt frequency into rings and things that like that. I agree. And then also be careful with your family members buying from Temu and from what is it, Sheen. Do you know what kind of material they're putting in those fabrics? And a lot of young people are wearing them. Sheen and Temu are setups. Why do you think it costs $2, y'all? Why are you shopping from Temu and for Sheen? All the clothing has, you can't wear clothing if it's not organic cotton. If you cannot be wearing polyester, rayon, those are all microplastics and fibers and metal fibers. They go into 100%, yep, Yafi, 100% polyester. You know what kind of things in the skin it embeds in your skin? You cannot wear clothing, and you shouldn't have your children wearing clothing like that. Don't let them buy them cheap clothes. That's why they're so cheap. You never ask the question, it's darn near free. You don't ask yourself why? Oh, the great Ozzy, also for O positives. O's are all O's, negative and positive, have an adverse reaction to copper. We have a lot of copper in our blood. O positives have the highest amount of copper, which is never spoken about. They always make it seem like it's only O negatives. It's actually O positives that have the most copper. Now, I do say that copper is in obviously O negatives, but O positives have the highest amount of copper in their blood. That's why we have such an adverse reaction to it. So be careful with that. 98% polyester. Y'all, read your clothing, y'all. We might have to be like Star Trek. You might just have to wear one uniform, wear 3 uniforms a week, y'all. Refrain from having your sons wearing underwear with polyester and all kinds of things, because a lot of times their Johnsons will stop working, y'all. Stop feeding your sons with plastic water bottles. I wouldn't mess with Valley Spring anymore. I see everybody drinking Mount Valley Spring from the United States. I wouldn't drink any water from the United States anymore. Sourced, unless you go to the springs. Those free springs, that's different. But anything that they're bottling in the States, I wouldn't mess with. You got to do organic cotton, you got to do linen, and you got to do pure wool. And you cannot mix them. Do not have your children wearing polyester, y'all. You're going to cause your sons to have issues, especially if it's like leggings and so on with all that microplastics, and that's estrogen. And you wonder why women are getting fibroids and all kinds of craziness. I don't rebuke that. I'm not a doctor. Don't listen to me. You wonder why they're wearing all those microplastics and they're wearing all that craziness. They're getting sick. And stop wearing black, y'all. You know, black draws in frequencies, right? If you wear black, you're pulling in all those mad frequencies. Why do you think brown people have the most amount of chaos in their life? Because they're darker skin. Brown people have to neutralize that by wearing white or lighter colors, like pastel colors. Brown people wearing darks, that's why they suffer from, that's why people who go get depressed are always wearing black. Black draws in all those chaotic frequencies. You cannot wear black all the time. I know, Summer. It's a little different. Am I scaring everybody? I'm sorry. Please put a like on the video if you're up for the shenanigans. I'm giving you all these gems, y'all. All these gems. Okay? Listen to me when I say it. You got it. Stay away from the meat. The meat also has chaos in it. Why do you think the Jewish people do parv or kosher, and the Arabs do um, uh, halal? Because even the meat, if you kill an animal so chaotically, that goes inside of the animals. It causes stress and heaviness to you. If you're eating meat that's not halal or kosher, you're going to have to neutralize it. And you have to neutralize it in the pot with high vibration, maybe put in a pot, putting high dings on it in order to neutralize it. You got to be careful with the food. The water is contaminated in the United States. The food is contaminated. Remember, the Chinois are poisoning everything, and most of your medications are coming from China and India. The very people that are here who don't want all these Americans here. I'm giving you all these gems, y'all. I'm not telling you things that are gonna be harmful, especially with the babies. If you got grandchildren, you shouldn't be having any polyester on your babies, especially your baby boys. Your little girls should not be wearing panties that aren't organic cotton. You should only have organic cotton on your skin. You should only have linen and also wool, pure wool. You cannot have these crazy things, or lobster and shrimp are absolutely diabolical. They bottom feed. They eat flesh and garbage off the floor. And if they're raised in a farm, they've got antibiotics all in their water. I'm sorry, Reese. Okay, I'm going to chill, y'all. Put a like on your video if you're up for the shenanigans. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Or get just because said organic cotton won't stretch. Yeah. It may have a little bit elastic, you can do a little bit of elastic. 100%. Y'all, where are my homemakers again? I know ionic, it's expensive, but guess what? We can make stuff. You can get the material and we can start sewing like our grandmothers did. We can start making throws and wrapping stuff on our body. Let's be creative, sea stars. Remember back in the days, we don't have to be the best. Let's teach ourselves stuff. Let's start to get the linen, go buy the material and start making it. You know how cute your outfits would be? You can make a pair of panties, brasiers. We can make everything. Let's start creating things again. Start making things. Go buy the actual linen yourself. Buy it yourself. Get a couple yards of it. And let's start being creative. We don't have to, yarn. Let's start doing things. And ladies who like to wear weaves and braids, all of the braids, you wonder why a lot of brown women are getting weird kind of fibroids and so on, and issues with their hormones being destabilized. You're putting microplastics in your hair. All that cheap hair, synthetic hair is microtoxic plastics. You're putting weaves and braids in your hair all the time. If you leave that on your hair, because your hair is like a antenna, you're putting that on your hair, y'all. It's literally dulling your electrical energy, and it's messing with your hormones. You have to stop wearing those hair braids things. They look really pretty on you, but it's microplastics. It's messing and destabilizing your hormones. You cannot wear that on your hair every day for 6 months. You have your hair braided all the time. And then you're saying, how come women of color always have fibroids? Why are they having all these issues? Because you're wearing microplastics on you. It destabilizes your hormones. Stop with the eyelashes. The eyelashes catches all that metal. It's magnetic. All those nanoparticulates of metals are going in your fake eyelashes. And those little nanos, the little micro nanos are going inside your eyes and going into your brain. And stop getting tattoos with black goo. Am I giving you enough, y'all? Okay? Am I giving you enough? Tattoos have black goo in it. Remember my group? I told them to clear it. And you know what happened to the sea stars that are try to clear the black goo tattoos out of them? It literally shocks them when I make them go on the regimen to get rid of it. It literally shocks them. That's what lets you know that the black goo is sentient. It does not want to get out of your body. That's why they promoted tattoos. That's why they want everyone to get it. Because did you ever ask your tattoo artist what kind of ink you're getting? It's black goo. It's it's nanobots. And it stays inside of you. And when you try to get rid of it, it attacks you. Okay, y'all. Am I okay? Just clean it up, y'all. Because when that super plasma comes, that last bit of electrical thing, just it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, I'm not anybody's type of person. And stop sleeping with people who've been shotted up, y'all, because you're gonna wake up with spike proteins and monkey balls all inside of you. If they're not if they're not if they're not careful and they don't care about themselves enough to not participate with the bioweapons, you shouldn't be sleeping with them. Because every time they release their this sperm of mass destruction inside of you, they're literally releasing pathogens and bioweapons inside of your womb and literally attaching these spikes all over your body. Okay, y'all. I think I devastated you enough. Sometimes you want me on here to keep ranting. I'm sorry. I'll rant for days. You know what? This is the life I live, y'all. So if I still seem a little nerdy and detached, and I don't mess with people like that, I keep my circle clean. There isn't anyone in my house, gratefully, that participated in the bioweapon. I won't live with someone like that. And I won't live with people that are mean spirited and cruel and nasty to people or don't or are not or don't or unforgiving. Those are all people you should be mindful of. You know what I mean? People who will sit here and want you to be unhuman and then but want you to perceive them and give them grace when they make mistakes. Am I okay where I am? Yeah, so far. Yeah. I'm actually gratefully in a safe location. Don't dye your hair either. All the charcoal products have graphene in it. All the hair dyes, if it's dark, has graphene in it. Just stop messing with your body, y'all. Stop messing with your body, y'all. You need to get like Fahrenheit bags for your phones. You need to have, where's the thing? Hold on. I'm probably going to take this video down. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, here it is. See this? See this? If there's ever MP, this is what you put in your car, and that'll mute it. This right here. See? Okay. Some people have it, you know, the more expensive ones over their battery in their car. They will attack your car. If you have a brand new car, you're doomed. You need to have an old car, get them old station wagons. Don't listen to the people who got Teslas and so on. Those are bombs. As soon as everything goes off, anything with solar, it's bombs. Hennas are fine. As long as you know where the henna is made out of, like myrrh or something like that. Yeah. If you have, Bebe, no, don't worry. If you have gray hairs, you can just neutralize it. You know that. Gray hairs is just oxidizing in your body. You just have to stop that oxidization. That's all. You have to stop oxidization. Aging is a disease. Oxidization is because we're eating foods and we're doing things to oxidize our body, like contents we're putting in our body, the water. So you just have to stop the oxidization. You have to kind of bring oxygen back in your body. So like, and especially if you're low in iron. So a lot of people start graying and it starts dipping their nutrients. So you're not getting enough nutrients. So you have to neutralize yourself. You got to get NDA. You got to start stop stressing yourself. You got to start getting, like, remember we talked about plantation molasses. You can't, in the United States it's not good anymore because it doesn't have a lot of iron, but once you get a lot of iron in your body, it'll get rid of the grays. Grays are just a byproduct of like oxidization. Like I get a couple, see them, but then they go away. So if you notice, I haven't really got really super gratefully super gray. You notice that, y'all, right? And I don't dye my hair. Only time I put like a pink, my daughter's having me do a pink dye, like a stain over my hair in Brazil, but it's gone. Yeah. And I'm a woman of a certain age, y'all. Okay, so you see my hair? It's the same color, generally, from what you saw. Okay? You can generally make, you gotta, yeah, oxidize the water. Yeah, you gotta, well, you gotta be careful. Like too much soda, too much carbon monoxide in your water. Um, it's a whole thing. You gotta try to stop stressing. Oh, okay. So Summer says she's very gray and she's very anemic. You got to get the iron. And they don't give you proper iron. So what you can do is definitely get, if you guys are in Brazil, if you go to Mexico, if you go to any of the South American countries in Africa, I'm sure they have it too. I'm not sure, but you got to get that heavy molasses. I get mine from Brazil, and it has so much iron in it. I showed you before. So much iron in it. Okay. It's really your low, and it's not the kind of iron you think. It's not the iron that you buy in the store. It's like you get it through molasses, sulfur free molasses. And like I said, I get mine from Brazil, and you can actually do a hair thing with it too. Um, oh, Iceland said she got iron injection. Yeah, because we're low in iron. You're not. We're not absorbing as much iron as we used to. It's really not about you getting it, it's about you absorbing it. Because a lot of, even the flora in our stomach, you see when I'm a little fluffy when I'm in the United States, all of you notice when I leave the United States how much I lose. Why? Is because a lot of the weight that we're carrying is high amount of inflammation due to the glyphosate. The glyphosate is a glyphosate inside of the flours or the pastas. I don't even do it anymore. When I cook, I make sure I try not to do any pot, like, little ones occasionally, and I'll do like spelt flour that's not full of is it glucifate? What is it called? Whatever it's called, right? But I get fluffy in the United States. I can't stop it. And I also think they attack, oh, it's glyphosate. Thank you, my love. Thank you. Glyphosate. Y'all, I tell you, like, we had a girlfriend who went to France. Y'all in Europe, you don't get this issue. She was in France. She dropped like 5 pounds within a week. I'm telling you, y'all, the poisons are real. They're really real. And you got to pay attention to that. The food is really toxic. And I always tell you, get out of the country, get away from the chemtrails. You need to do a chelation. You can't do a chelation if you're constantly being inundated and bombarded with chemtrails. And everything has metals in it. You got to clear yourself, be out of the country for at least a month. And then if you want to come back, you got to kind of keep going out and coming back in. But if you're a little fluffy and it seems like your weight won't go away, it's because of the food. And also because of the amount of radiation, the body's natural way of protecting itself is to bulk. So when you get a little fluffier, like I do when I'm here, I don't try to fight it because the bulk is protecting my organs from radiation. It doesn't look that great. Yeah, it doesn't look bad, but it doesn't look that great. But when I leave the country, I slender down nicely without any effort because I won't be inundated as much radiation, and also the food is not as chemicalized. So if you feel like you're really fat and you're kind of just inflating and you don't know why, and you're exercising and you're working out and whatnot, it's because of that. It's really that. And the reason why, I think actually the reason why they created, what's that shot again? What's the shot that they have? Um, what's the shot? What's the shot that for diets? No, what's the shot for diets? Oh, Ozempic. Thank you, Austin. The reason why I think they created Ozempic is to make you so you wouldn't notice that you're bulking, and to make it, because they probably know the side effect of you of you taking Ozempic is your organs being inundated with the radiation. Because remember, the less fat you have, the blubber. I know it seems crazy because everybody fat gets demonized, but blubber and fat will protect your organs. Like the people who get attacked with radiation, they actually did a study on that many years ago, maybe in the 80s. The people who had the most blubber had a hard time when they were exposed to radiation because the radiation actually protects your organs. So they actually created Ozempic probably to be probably to make it so that people lose weight so they can die quicker. That's how diabolical these BFBs. They look good, but how long are they going to look good, and how long are they going to stay around? Because if the byproduct of your body is a natural technology. If it feels it's being attacked like a pufferfish, it'll blow up to protect its insides. So that's why when you go to other countries and your body's not being attacked anymore, what does it do? It deflates like a pufferfish. Anyway, y'all. All right. I think I did enough ranting today. I know this video was all over the place. I hope it was helpful. Put a like on the video if you like the content. I don't know if I'll keep it up because it's kind of all over the place. I hate making videos that don't, I mean, you get a lot of gems, but eh, you know, I like to stay on point too. You know what I mean? All right, y'all. So I'm going to go. Actually, and that's why I have a problem with coffee in the United States. I'm craving coffee. I love coffee, but they have graphene in the coffee. So I like to have coffee. There's a coffee place. I kind of feel for a coffee today, but it has graphene. I usually make it myself, but I'll probably maybe I'll make a cup in the house. Yeah, I'll make a cup. Yeah. The graphene, I buy the one that's organic, that's mold free, and that's sourced from another country. You know what I mean? Because there's graphene and mold, micromold and everything. And that also causes inflammation. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. All right. Keep your head up, y'all. You don't drink coffee and that stuff makes, it's crazy. So, once in a while, I like it. I do decaf most of the time if I do it. But once in a while, I like a little caffeine. You know what I mean? Once in a while. All right, y'all. Fluffy flower going out. Yeah. And for the people who feel insulted by me being me, that tells you that maybe you don't resonate with me. If me being me and me being a real person, having a life, having children, talking from the car, not editing my video, if that bothers you, by all means, you can unsubscribe. You should be with someone who's more in alignment with you. I'm probably not your cup of tea. Rather than you writing me a whole epilogue of how awful I am, how I'm just fat, I'm ugly, or I'm a slut, or I'm a siren, or you're going to pray for me, or I need Jesus, or I'm insulting you because I'm being me, or I have big boobies. Those are reasons why you should just unsubscribe. Why would you be a party to someone who you don't like? Like, definitely. You shouldn't subscribe to someone you don't like. If you know what I mean? Someone got mad at me the other night for being tired. And that's what I'm saying. Me being tired bothered someone. Me being a mom, having lots of things to do and just falling asleep and being tired pissed someone off. That lets you know that that's a problem. Like if someone doesn't like you being a human and can't really resonate with someone who has human behavior and criticizes it and thinks it's an insult when you're tired or bothers them, that says a lot. They should just unsubscribe. Be with someone who's more biobotic. Be with someone like Elon Musk who stays up all night, who just talks, and just needs a battery pack in her back. You know what I mean? I'm for the organic. And if being organic is not for you, by all means, be with someone inorganic. It's the way it should be. All right, y'all. So I'm going to go. I wish everybody well. Take care. Be on everything. Pay attention. Australia, Europe, America, Africa. Pay attention. Just don't believe what they tell you. Believe what you see and what you witness and what you know. Okay? So I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.